So, my previous video, we looked at kind of like these proprioceptive points where if you just touch them, it changes your body organization. Now, I want to make it clear, these things are cues, body cues, that get your foot in the door. If you want to get really good, you're going to have to condition the body. That means the fascia, the tendon, the muscles, etc. Can't escape it, all right? Especially if you want to have fun with this stuff. Also means that you're going to have to really do a deep dive on your proprioception. We do a lot of centerline work, precarious balance work. Not really going to go into that topic right now. I do cover it in great detail at my seminars, take people step by step, kind of show them how the additives fit into the whole picture. But for now, let's take a look at, say, like a singular component. So, sometimes, for certain traditional mechanics, let's say we have this kind of mechanic here. And all you see this extension, and there's like various explanations. Like it's like spear, you're coiling, and etc. Feel maybe a path to the ground, yada yada. Okay, but there's a great way to kind of examine this and extrapolate on kind of a core mechanic where a lot of people get stuck in. So if Nick can just kind of join me. And let me be clear, this is kind of, I usually use this for people who get really stuck in their proprioception and what to do with their hips. I very quickly just covered before that the brain can only process one direction at a time. So even if let's say my structure is really solid and I try to drive into Nick here, like this, I can drive him, but it's really difficult. If I add a second vector, like this is very easy. But the question is, where do we add that second vector? One description for, say, like this drill, and this drill is somebody is basically giving you static resistance, alive but static resistance. If I try and push forward, I get jammed, I feel pressure in the back foot. So to alleviate that, one solution is to create a downwards force as we come forwards. Notice just by pointing down, I create a downwards vector, and that's easier for me to move Nick. How do we do it without doing this finger? Well, I raise my heel. By raising my heel, now my hip can drop like this. And as I drop, this pressure decreases. Now I can bring my heel down. Nick, how does it feel?
Float.
Yeah, floaty. And it's really easy for me then to move Nick like this, stick to him, instead of even walk forward, yada yada. The part that I would say be careful with is that when you raise this heel here and you drop this, you don't want to collapse this. If you simply come here and then do this, you still get jammed. So what's the difference? If you go back to my previous video, we covered this thing where you're able to apply weight here. So if I'm able to apply weight here with this configuration here at the forearm, and I raise the heel, and then I start to lower it like this, now I'm coming down into the hip, but it goes down into the neck, So likewise, it's almost like I raise the heel, but I'm trying to keep that same proprioceptive point, and then as I come down like this, that weight gets transmitted here into Nick, like that. It's a good way to monitor like how the weight transmits into the other person. That's why it's always useful to have a partner. But really understanding that difference of folding here, which sometimes feels stable. You can fold into your kwa, or the Chinese will call this the kwa, Japanese will say kokansetsu, and this looks fairly okay here, right? Fairly okay as in it looks like it's seated, it looks nice and stable. But if Nick taps me here, I go backwards. And the reason that happens partly. It's because now my axis is off, like my central axis is off. But if I give myself that different cue where I raise my toes here, and I stay on top, I stay on top, I stay on top. There's a certain configuration here in the hips where it doesn't collapse. It doesn't collapse, it doesn't collapse, it doesn't collapse. Here, now now it's solid. I could look at this, say, from the perspective of this, where I turn, 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 like this. If I turn too much into this leg here, it feels really stable. But then if we did this previously in another video, here, there's no support here in the back arm. But if I turn, 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 I actually keep this heel up. Turn, 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 turn. Here, now I'm no longer twisting. Now I'm no longer twisting, and instead, I keep that same proprioception and I sit onto this joint here. Now, it's like in between being wavy, balanced, and you don't feel stable per se, but if Nick pushes down, here, it's fairly stable. That's a fine line to trend, or to monitor. It's a very fine line to monitor, but it's worth doing a deep dive in. Okay? So, just some ideas again. These are generalities, so just because I showed this doesn't mean it applies, it does not apply to other movements. So try it in a throw. Try, you could try it in a kotegaeshi, you could try irimi nage, pretty much anything. Even strikes. Explore, explore, explore. That's my mantra. Play. There's no need to be caught up in a certain box, per se, once you've isolated like a certain component and how it works. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. See you again.